Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Join me today, I welcome some special guests. We got Niko, Tim, and Milo. How you doing, brothers?
Very good. Thank you for having us.
Doing good, man. Appreciate it.
That's all good. And I guess just to fill in the guys, everyone in the audience right here, we got Silver Bullet Smile. And these guys are hailing from Florida right here. And actually today, it's going to be an interesting one. But first off, it's storming outside, so hopefully I don't lose power here. So keep the fingers crossed. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. But how you guys doing today? What's new?
We're doing great. As far as new for the band is continues just writing new music. We can get deeper into that as we go through the interview. So that's what we continue to do, and we're just starting to set up shows, throughout Tampa Bay. That's really as far as new what's going on right now. We continuously write new music. So I think we got 4 singles out right now on all the social media channels, and we're getting ready to release another song. And we can get, like I said, we can have Thursday talk about that as far as lyrics and things like that.
That's pretty cool. And just to fill you in, I actually did play one of your songs on my McGrib show, Man in the Moon. And I want to say it was episode 3, I think. I was going to say, Niko, were you the one that sent me that song?
Yeah, I think I sent you that song. I probably sent you a couple of songs, but that song for us was it hit. I don't know if you're familiar with the that one chart that they have. They're in 25 countries, and so Man in the Moon hit number 2, and kind of stayed up there for several weeks, and then it hit a second time just recently and went to number 3. So that song, we're very happy with how it's been responded to.
I would say Heat Seekers because I think there's various charts. Do you remember which one it was? Anybody know which one it was?
Tim, you remember which chart that is?
The name of the chart?
Yeah.
Sunset Island, I believe.
Right.
That's like top 30 unsigned bands in the world. Sunset Island.
All right. Congratulations there, guys. So you guys making some killer music. But I guess, have you guys only released 3 songs so far? Do you got like an upcoming album coming up, or are you just doing it like one single at a time?
Right now we actually have 4 out. We probably have 8 written. I think we're gonna do what Niko calls the waterfall effect, what a lot of bands are doing now because of streaming platforms, where you just release a bunch of singles and then you combine it into an album. And if you want to go there out, put the artwork on it and all the bells and whistles and put it out like that.
All right, sounds good. You guys get to elaborate your music on here in just a little bit here too. But boys, I want to welcome you to my podcast right here. And the way this is going to work is I'm going to ask you guys some questions. Let's get to know more of the people behind the music, as well as how you guys became musicians as well. Sorry, my English is getting terrible recently. So, all right. But speaking of which, let's go ahead and jump into it too. So the way we're going to do this is Niko, you'll go first, Tim, and then Milo will go last. So Niko, here's how it goes. So let's start with this first question right here. Tell us a little about yourself. What's your backstory and how did you become a musician?
As far as I go, I started actually playing drums when I was like 10 years old. And then I started playing in high school bands, just like pretty much like a lot of people out there, doing covers. And I ended up going in the service. And when I got out of the service, I moved to LA, and I played in LA in the Hollywood market for several years, 5 years actually over there. And then I moved to Memphis, Tennessee, and played that market for 11 years. So I was signed to Ardent Studios as in a spec deal back then. So, they were shopping us through labels. And then I ended up coming back to Florida, and I was kind of out of the music business for quite a few years. Same thing. I got married, had kids, kind of let it go for quite a while. And then I just had the itch to get back into it, and I got back into it. And I kind of got influenced a lot. For me, this is just coming from me. I was heavily influenced, back when I was playing more of the 80s, 90s music back then. And I got very influenced by Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch because I liked the movement. I loved the drumming. And so when I decided to kind of get back into it, I said, I'd love to put together an original band that had a lot of movement in it. And was a little more complex than the bands I was used to playing in the past. So that's basically my story. How and then so we put it together. I found Tim. I found um, Paul, who's our guitar player, is not on right now, and then Milo joined us last, and it kind of just all came together for us. And so that's basically my story.
I guess which branch of the military did you serve in?
Yeah, I was in the Army.
Congratulations, and thank you so much for your service there, mate. Means a lot.
Appreciate it.
Okay. And I guess, Tim, go ahead.
Honestly, I just started making music a couple years ago. I fell into it. I started writing music because I was in the process of writing fiction novels and screenplays. And I've always been a big music fan. Never thought I'd be in a band. I'm still trying to learn everything. I think we're still looking for a lead singer. But I was in a place where I had no access to music that I like. I like a lot of different kinds of music. I have an eclectic taste, but mainly heavy metal, hard rock. That's like my go-to, or anything from like Seattle in the '90s. Tool's one of my biggest bands. Currently, anything with Maynard. I think I was like 6th grade, riding the bus, listening to Metallica on my headphones. If that tells you, on my Walkman, if that tells you how old I am. But I just started writing music because I don't know, man. I just had it in me, and it had to come out. And I knew I couldn't play any instruments, so I just started singing it myself, and I sang every day for years and just practiced that way. And then I met these guys, and we got together and started actually putting music to the lyrics, which was difficult for me because I had no concept of what the hell a BPM was. It's difficult when you're trying to have other people play to what you're singing. So yeah, I just kind of fell into it, and we hit a groove when we started making music, and here we are.
I'll say it's kind of a big deal to know what BPM is. I think it's kind of a prerequisite.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, hey. Actually, I was going to ask too. Did you guys ever sing Timmy and the Lords of the Underworld from South Park?
Oh gosh, I've been doing that forever.
But
He's a redhead. I'm a redhead. Both named Timmy.
I would say, let's see a perfect Timmy impersonation. Let's do it. Timmy.
Timmy, Timmy.
All right. I like it. Yeah. And Milo, go ahead.
I started playing bass out of necessity when I was about 14, I think. I was trying to play with this band of people who didn't know what they were doing whatsoever. And, you know, there was already 2 guitar players. So I got voted to go down to Thoroughbred Music and trade my guitar rig in for a bass rig. And that's what I did. And I've played in bands on and off my whole life, basically since I was 15. I've done all kinds of stuff from really heavy proggy metal to I was in a sort of a soul project for a while, funk, anything like that. I'm a bass whore. So anything that's got a good bass line, anything that's got movement. Big Tool fan also. It's part of the reason why Tim and I click musically. So also just an absolute Maynard fan. Love that dude. Everything they've ever done is amazing. And Justin Chancellor is one of my all-time favorite bass players. So, but if you glance around, it's a bass player's paradise in here. There's basses aplenty and amps and all that good stuff. I just met these guys recently. I've been in the band for 2 months, something like that, 2.5 months, somewhere thereabouts. So I'm the new guy.
But I will say, just to add to that, to Milo's been a great contribution to this band. We were looking really hard. I mean, we were together over 2 years ago, me, Tim, and Paul. We were together, and we just couldn't find a bass player that would fit us. We really wanted a 5-string bass player, and everybody we tried out just didn't cut it. And when we found Milo, he was the man. As far as 5-string, plays with his fingers. He's just a great bass player, and he's really going to contribute to our sound. And I think you'll hear that next in our next song. He helped write that, the next song, Mayday. So I think you're going to hear that bass really coming out and making a difference in our music.
I guess before we jump into the band real quick, I guess Milo and Tim, I guess which one's your favorite Tool song? Because I'll say mine is No Quarter, and unfortunately I don't put that one on any of the streaming platforms.
That's not really a Tool song, though.
They practically turned it into a Tool song. That's the thing. So I mean, hey.
I personally the pot.
Go ahead, Milo.
Sorry, buddy. The pot. The way the bass and the vocals work together on the pot from 10,000 Days. The sound Justin Chancellor gets out of the wall bass. One of these days, you guys, you're going to hear me say those words. I bought a wall bass today, and that means I spent a whole shitload of money on a single guitar.
Let's say 3 basses since you joined the band. 3 basses.
That's when you know it's just beyond a passion at this point.
Yeah, he's a little obsessive with basses.
I know, yeah. I guess, Tim, did you say what your favorite Tool song was?
Is it bass or bass? Anyways, I don't know, man. That's like trying to pick your favorite child. Yeah, there's so many fucking good ones. If I had to pick one, I'd say Right in Two off of 1,000 Days. That's one of my favorite Tools.
Actually, all right, I'll be fair. I know I said No Quarter. I know that's pretty much a Led Zeppelin cover song too, but I would say Eulogy. Love Eulogy.
Eulogy, yeah, great song, great song.
Okay. So I think, Niko, you know about the history of the group here, so I guess let's start at the beginning. And first off, how'd you come up with the name too? Because I just learned today from my dad that Silver Bullet referred to Bob Seger, and then there's the whole thing with the Silver Bullet with Coors Light. So I guess how'd you come up with the name?
So, Tim, you want me to take that, or you want to take it?
You can go for it.
All right, so there's another trying to find a name for a band, and I think every band goes through this. So we went through so many different names, and every time we looked it up, we found out there was a band somewhere in the world with that name. So we kept going round and round and round. So Tim has like 80 lyrics of songs that he's written already, and it just so happened that Silver Bullet Smile was one of his titles of his songs. So we just said, why don't we just use the title of that song and make it the band's name? And that's what we did.
All right. I guess let's hear more about the history. So I guess how'd you meet all these guys?
That's simple as that. I mean, like I said, it's just not an easy task. I don't know if you ever tried to come up with something new like that. And you got so many bands out there today all over the world. So it's just a tough task to come up with and find something original. So that's what we did.
Yeah, I got mentioned stuff. I would say the one band name I use, because I got like 2 others I'm trying to put in the works. One is Demiurge, and so I know that name's been used a good bit by like other artists and everything else. So I can see why, but I'm still sticking with the name. Like I imagine band names always being pretty tough because you got not just a whole bunch of musicians here in the States, but also in around the world too, and they're all using those streaming platforms as well.
Oh yeah, most I would say 90% of the ones that we came up with, some band from Eastern Europe was either currently had that name or from the 80s. I mean, it was a nightmare.
It was
Struggle, and then I just started coming up with the most random shit. I think the last one, like, thunder nipples or something like that. And they're like, nah, we're not going to do that. I was like, well, it's not taken. I looked it up. It's not taken. So we settled on that one because it was a song that we were actually working on, and we all thought it sounded really cool. So that's how we sound. That's why we called ourselves that.
We reached a point in the world where every band is going to have to be 5 words or more. There's just no getting.
That's right.
3-word band names are all taken, and then something.
Yeah. Oh, I went through the dictionary for like a week. I couldn't sleep. I pulled half of my hair out. I was losing my freaking mind. And then, we finally just settled on it. I settled on a different one, and then everybody wanted to change it. I'm like, all right, you guys can fucking come up with the name because I'm done at this point. So
I've had bands almost come apart over it. I was in a band for a long time called Black Tie Social, and the lead singer of that band insisted every band name he ever tried to throw at us was a fruit. There was a fruit in there, something cherry, something berry, something strawberry. No,
Let's say you called your band Fruit Loops or something.
he tried, man. He tried. Honestly, I love him to death, but we fought like cats and dogs over the name for months. So
I don't trust anyone named after a fruit, so I wouldn't listen to a band named after a fruit. I don't think they'd have to be really.
that's fair.
Something with
I think it's
pineapple.
fair.
Anything with the word pineapple too. Maybe that's a good sign to like just stay away or something like that.
I think it was Buck Cherry was big at the time,
Buck Cherry.
and Buck Cherry, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was it was a point of contention. Again, it almost ended the band.
Be like, hey, you're crazy, bitch, but you fuck so good when you're on top of me.
Oh yeah, they're actually around. They're still touring. Buck Cherry.
Especially when I talked the song about cocaine too. I know. I think it was Lit Up. I think that was what it was called. It was like, I love that cocaine. I love that cocaine. So talk about crazy shit and that stuff too. But
Yeah, that was good. I liked it.
I guess Nico or Tim, I guess whoever wants to give the history of the band. So I guess let's start when you guys first formed up, and I guess you guys do a whole lot of lineup changes.
No,
As far as that goes, lineup changes. Paul and myself are the ones that kind of started it, and we did have somebody had a couple of bass players in the past that we tried, and again, they just didn't work. And we had one other vocalist in the beginning that just didn't work. So again, we found Tim, and it's amazing because I was on a website that I was looking for musicians, and normally I wouldn't even answer somebody or reach out to somebody that didn't have a picture on there, and Tim didn't have a picture on there, and so there was something about his ad that it kind of grabbed me. One, about how many songs he's written in his lyrics and stuff. So we touched base like immediately, and we just clicked, and we've been together almost 2.5 years now. So just writing music and rehearsing and putting it all together. So it's worked well. We have a good chemistry, actually.
Let's pause it. I want to make sure if anybody else want to add anything there. So
So did you just say that you picked him because of what he looked like? That's weird, man. Were you on? It's just weird.
no. He said he doesn't normally. It's like going on Tinder and answering an ad or like swiping left or right or whatever to talk to someone that doesn't have a profile picture, even though it's probably not them or current picture of them. But it's like a date for musicians, pretty much.
there's a whole lot of those dating sites where you get like the wrong sort of pictures, like it's not exactly what they look like.
Oh, yeah.
Like a smoking hot babe. So yeah.
Well, but yeah, exactly. It's like that babe ate another babe, and that's why they're on there, because that's what the picture looks like before the eating. But with band mix, it was like, people on their ad, they say, oh, I've been playing for years and I've been touring. They show up and they don't even know what a chord is. You know what I mean? Their bass is 30 years old. The guy show up and he's like, no, you guys need to start doing covers of the Beatles, man. And we're like, dude, what? No, like showed up an hour ago. What the hell are you talking about, bro? So get all kinds.
Yeah.
Actually, I have used Bandmix in the past, and I actually did find the cover group that I was technically a part of briefly because I was only of a couple practice sessions, and unfortunately, I found somebody else. So we were doing like 90s alternative hard rock. So it was a lot of fun. And then I'm in Niko's camp. I'm also a drummer as well. So tend to love hitting stuff too, legally, we should say. We like to hit things legally. So
Yeah.
and so I guess Niko, you said this band started about 2.5 years ago. Was this during the height of COVID?
I think wasn't COVID just kind of ending. was kind of ended by then. And then we kind of kicked it off, like I said, but we went through several people. But I think 2 years solid, probably that was the first 6 months. 2 years solid from that point on is we actually practiced in a little bedroom, which I'm sitting in right now, and wrote the songs and recorded a lot of the stuff. So I'd say, yeah, 2 years. And again, once Milo came in, we couldn't even play out because we didn't have a bass player. So we were really jonesing to go out and start playing our music out. And so, Milo joined about 2.5 months ago, and he came on quick, and we booked 2 shows real quick and did very well for our first 2 shows.
They put me under a little bit of pressure. Oh, you want to play in the band? Cool, we got a show in like a week, dude. It's awesome. Dude.
No
pressure. Yeah, no pressure. No pressure. Yeah, we're playing it in a week, so make sure you learn the songs pretty quick right there. Oh, but no pressure. No pressure. So.
Well, you learned the first 3 songs in the first day, so we were like, right, let's do it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
We trust the bass player. So. Yeah. But it was kind of leading to this question right here. So I guess during COVID, what happened in 2020, and Niko, you can go first here. I guess how bad did COVID impact you, family, and music wise?
COVID didn't really affect me musically at all. Family wise, I think my family, music, for me, everything, I just didn't let it bother me. Some people were very bothered by it. I just didn't let it bother me. I still went out. I did everything I can possibly do. Of course, some places require you to have a mask on, which didn't sit very well with me, but I conformed to their needs. But yeah, for me, it was not a factor at all. I don't know about the rest of the band, so I don't want to speak for them.
Go Tim, and then Milo, you can close it out.
Yeah, it didn't really affect me music wise. I would say it kind of helped me one time because I had COVID and we were working on I was working on our first video for Man in the Moon. I don't know if it's a AI generated video. It's very time consuming because you have to do 3 to 5 second segments at a time with the program that I was using. So you put in all these different prompts and you can change camera angles. You can alter pretty much, manipulate or alter pretty much anything of the video as far as like the speed of it and the camera angle. But when you put in prompts trying to get a certain image, most of the time the computer is not going to give you what you're looking for. So you got to let it render. You got to sit there and wait. Go back and look at it, and then do it again, do it over and over and over and over. It's very time consuming. So I actually got COVID and I had a week off from work, and I just sat in my room and just worked on the video, and I knocked it out in like 60 hours. So it helped me in that respect. As far as my personal life, my job, I'm a pharmacist at a major retail chain. And it was a fucking nightmare. I mean, it was this absolute crazy town. And it still kind of is right now, but not during the height of it, like 2021, 2022. It was bad. It was really bad. So I know a lot of people were affected by it, family members dying, getting sick. So it could have been a lot worse. I always try to keep that in mind. But I think it kind of changed like the whole atmosphere at a club, or maybe it's just this generation because I go to concerts and I look at them on TV and it's like nobody's fucking moshing anymore. Like nobody wants to even go near each other or touch each other because they're scared of catching something. Like I remember in the 90s, man, like I didn't even like I just crowd surfed, everywhere that I went. If I wanted to go to the bathroom, I'd crowd surf over towards the bathrooms. If I wanted to go get a drink, I'd just, run through the mosh pit, knock a couple people down and crowd surf over there. Everyone's sitting there like scared to fuck breathe, because they don't want to catch something. So that's another thing. As a singer, our last show, I actually got sick. I don't know if it was COVID or not, but I lost my voice. So I had to stop talking for 3 days before the show, which actually worked out really well for me in a lot of different ways that I didn't expect. But I was still anxious because, it's the second show I've ever performed, and I wasn't sure if my voice was going to give out or not. But that's just something that comes with being a singer. But with COVID, I mean, just with my job too, it's just I'm around shit all the time, so I just have to be more conscious of that.
Yeah, that's for sure too. I was trying to remember what the song was. The opening song in Pulp Fiction, when it starts doing the credits right there. That's what I was thinking of when he was saying crowd surfing the whole bunch. So we're doing this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I understand why. So I guess Milo.
I didn't do anything musically during COVID, to be honest with you. There was, just everybody that I knew, all the bands that I knew, people that I had been talking to, everything kind of came to a screeching halt as far as that goes. Live music around here, stopped. It just came to, just like everywhere else in the world, people that were on major tours, they had a whole year booked today and tomorrow the whole thing's canceled. It was the same way. I had to bob and weave personally, work-wise. I had shifted gears and taken a job doing like over-the-road sales, which meant in people's homes. And all of a sudden, being in people's homes was not a great idea, and people were leaving you on the doorstep. And so I had to bob and weave. I'm single and live alone, so I had to figure out how to make money from my living room for a couple of years. That was fun. Don't look me up on OnlyFans or anything. Just saying. Just kidding. No, but yeah, I really didn't do anything music-wise. Like all the people that I knew, I've lived in this area my whole life, and I used to own a rehearsal studio, and everybody just stopped. Like it just paused for, almost 3 years, I guess.
As I went in doubt, either do a TikTok, dance moves, or go on OnlyFans. And that seems to be the best way to do it when you're locked in the house most of the time. So let's see.
I actually started selling life insurance from my bedroom. So
I was going to say, were you doing Geico? Or I guess what's our life insurance was it for? Which company was it for?
It was a big brokerage. And it was just something I was kind of familiar with. So prior to that, I was in the funeral industry, which is actually what I do now. So it was a similar conversation, just, a different product, basically. But yeah, I had to make some pretty major changes, and I really didn't work most of 2020 and just kind of floated off of savings and wait and see what happens. And, when I realized we weren't going back in the office anytime soon, I figured I'd better do something before I ended up sleeping in the Target parking lot.
That or under a bridge. So things anyway.
Exactly. Target's high class, probably cleaner.
Yeah.
I'm too good for Walmart. I go to Target. It's just even if I'm homeless, I'm not going to go sleep in the Walmart parking lot, buddy. I'm going to Target.
I mean, it sounded like Walmart's bad or something. Or is there a lot more homeless people there?
Yeah.
At one point, the Walmart here in town, half of the parking lot was a homeless camp.
All right, fair enough. But in all seriousness, it's good to see you guys are doing well there too. And Tim's good to see you are doing better there, mate. And good to have you along for the ride as well. So I do have to ask, which part of Florida are y'all hailing from? Are you guys all close by in the same neck of the woods?
Yeah, well, I'm in Spring Hill, and I think Tim's in Brooksville, and Niko's Spring Hill also.
Yeah.
We're like an hour outside of Tampa.
About 30 miles outside of Tampa.
I say, first off, are you guys close to Busch Gardens? Because I used to go there a lot as a kid when I had some family that lived down in Florida.
Yeah, it's about 35 miles away from there.
All right. Actually, it was kind of leading to this question here too. So I think Milo touched on the whole thing with like the live scene. I know Timmy did too. I guess, how's it been since they started lifting restrictions on COVID? Has it been on the up and up, or is it still kind of like stagnant in a way?
So I grew up in Tampa, and I'm sure you probably know a little bit of the history of what came out of Tampa in the 90s. Tampa was the mecca of death metal, and there used to be a burgeoning music scene in the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area. There was at any given time, 15 clubs that were hosting original bands doing, heavy music and things like that. And right now, I think there's 2.
Yeah.
A lot of them have gone by the wayside. Most people know that when you play original music, you're not really trying to go out there and live off of it. But at the same time, you don't really want to be put in the position for it to cost you money to go out and play, right? And it's the club scene here, as far as places for bands like us to go, few and far between. If we go a little bit to the other side of the state, if we go over to the Orlando area, there's some more clubs that are more local music friendly. But in Tampa, there's really only a handful anymore. It used to be an amazing music scene. When I was growing up in the 90s, again, every other place in Ybor City was a club that had an original band playing, and there was always something cool going on at the Ritz in Ybor City or the State Theater in downtown St. Petersburg, but it's all gone. It just doesn't happen anymore.
I'd say among the mecca of death metal bands that came out, the blasphemous almighty Deicide for one, then the ever dark morbid angel. So
there's a rehearsal studio. It's like it's a storage unit facility over on Skipper Road, guys, right around the corner from where we played last at the Brass Mug, actually, the Skipper warehouses. And when you pull in there, that's where Morbid Angel and Deicide and all those bands, they all had their stuff set up in there. And, they had 3 and 4 warehouses combined, and they'd knock the walls out and put air conditioners in. And that place, again, it was a jump in music scene. You'd pull through there and there was 20 bands rehearsing on any given night, but it's just gotten to such that there's no place to go. There just is no place in Tampa, St. Pete to go play anymore. So we stay home and play with ourselves.
So you guys still have More Sound Studios, right?
Yeah, More Sound's still there, as far as I know.
Yeah, actually, I tried to get him on the podcast the one time. I was kind of a little bummed because he had to turn it down because I guess he has a little problem with his ear or something. So it was kind of a shame. That would have been quite a hell of a nice story to talk about too. And actually,
a lot came out of that place. I'm sure he's got some stories to tell. So.
Oh yeah, and actually, Obituary is out of Florida, right?
Yep.
They're among the other 2 with Deicide and Morbid Angel too. So, it's kind of a shame too, because normally you want to stay positive, but I guess, is there a lot more cover bands that are like playing in bars these days?
Yeah, cover bands are still doing very well. What's doing best right now is tribute bands. Everybody's putting together a tribute band. Whether it's the Rolling Stones or even it gets as much as Creed tribute. You name it. There's a tribute band out there, and they're making a lot of money doing it. That's why they're doing it.
Creed tribute bands.
Anytime.
Ever since college too, because I know guys are kind of always making fun of the song with Arms Wide Open. So unfortunately, it still kind of sticks it with you. I know, and Jared's meant to be one of those heartwarming sort of songs too, but unfortunately, that memory still kind of remains with like what guys were saying in college, so to speak. So, but I guess what you mean too. It's kind of the same up here because I'm from the Pittsburgh region, and it's usually a lot of guys who are coming in, really just solo musicians on the acoustic guitar, just like playing Tom Petty or maybe a couple Rolling Stones, for instance. So I guess what you mean. I don't know. Tribute bands, maybe just cover artists. Maybe that's just the name. So, I'm trying to stay positive.
Sorry, I have a friend that him and his wife, all they have ever done their whole life is play music. And he told me a couple years back, he said, I'm 50-something years old and I have to go get a job for the first time in my life because I can't make money doing music anymore. The places, they won't pay us. They want to have a DJ come in, or they want to, use a playlist off of the internet or whatever. They don't want to pay even those cover bands, those guys, and those really talented people that can stay there and, rock out 4.5 hours in a night. They won't pay them anymore.
God, that sucks. And it's adding further woes, especially with the whole thing, what's going on with Spotify and like some of the streaming platforms. So I don't know if any of you guys read the recent article or at least seen a post on social media that kind of ripped on the Spotify CEO. It says it costs next to nothing to make content. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that. So I don't know, Niko, if you want to go first.
Prince, back in the day, Prince saw this coming when YouTube came out. And, that guy really did see the future of the music business part of it really tanking. I mean, it's impossible. Even the bands that get signed to, major deals, it's impossible to, we're going to end up listening to jingles on the radio. That's what's going to happen because nobody wants to take the time to write real music anymore, right? It can just be AI generated now. And, as much shit as people gave Metallica, they saw the future too with the whole Napster thing. Did they approach it the wrong way? Yeah. Did they have a point? You can't take my song and give it away. That's not how this works. It's my property. And it's, if people like it, then that's worth something. It's got to be worth something, right? I mean, if you build a desk, you're not just going to give it away, right? So you want to be paid for your labor and the materials that you put into it. I don't know. When we, as musicians, I mean, we are the guys that'll show up with, $10,000 worth of gear in our car to make $50. That's that's the reality of being an original musician.
A sad reality, yeah. I can see why. And I think the other thing too, I think most people don't want to say this, it's like Lars was right in the end. It's like that's the one thing people don't not want to say, especially since most people rip on his drumming style, but it's whatever at this point. So
I do own a t-shirt with Lars and Cliff standing next to each other, and it says it should have been Lars.
Oh God.
If I'd have thought about it, I'd have wore it.
I was gonna say, man, that is dark. That's dark, man. Oh, man.
You're right.
So, yeah, I can see why. But in all seriousness, it's good to see you guys are doing well there too. So hopefully brighter days are ahead, and hopefully you can turn around and make Florida. I was trying to figure the word too. Remake Tampa Bay, Florida in this case. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, even if we have to get our own freaking club and start doing this shit ourselves, we're gonna figure something out. So.
So you're never gonna go wrong with a saloon. And you see some of those ones out in like Sturgis, for instance, too. And they like doing a reality TV sort of TV series, do something like that.
Yeah.
That would be good.
Right. But best of luck to you guys there on your journey. So, but I guess jump into the next question right here. I guess, Niko, what sort of gear do you use for your music production?
As far as drumming gear,
just you personally, yeah. Yeah, what do you use, drumming wise?
Drumming wise, I record with an Elise Strike Pro SE set, running through Steven Slate software. And live, I play with a Gretsch Renown set and Zildjian cymbals. That's my thing. I've been playing Zildjian cymbals most of my life. I mean, I've tried some others, but I always go back to Zildjian. So that's pretty much it as far as my equipment goes. We do, just to talk a little bit about gear, and when we're talking about recording, I start using, like I said, I use Steven Slate as far as my drums for recording. But what we did, one of the challenges we had, I don't know if this is a good place to go into this, but I like to talk about this because it's a challenge for all bands. When you record your music, then what has to happen is it has to be mixed and mastered. And it was such a challenge for us to get somebody that was good at mixing and mastering our music. We sent it off to Ukraine. We sent it off to Prague. We had somebody here in Florida do it, and it always came back awful. We would go, oh my God, and we paid money for it, right? And so we kept trying, and we kept paying money. We kept trying, and we tried to go the cheaper way out. Like, a lot of bands thinking, oh, we can do this. It's going to be fine. So I'm just going down the road, and what we end up doing. So when you listen to our music, and I'm very proud of it. That's why I'm bringing this up. We finally, being that I'm, again, going back to just me, I'm a big 5-Finger Death Punch Disturbed guy, and my wife goes to me, she goes, well, where do they record and mix and master? And I'm like, there's no way we can afford where they go. I mean, these guys are the big time. So we find out they're at the Hideout in Las Vegas. That's where they go. That's who makes it. So I end up reaching out to them, and they said they can do it for X amount of dollars. And I went back to the band. And I said, what do you think? They go, well, and then I said, well, who are you going to give us for a engineer and help us produce? They said, we're going to give you Tristan Harden. So then we're like scurrying. We're Googling Tristan Harden. We find out he's the guy that actually engineered Disturbed, Five Finger Death Punch, Slipknot, all the bands. So we are lucky to have somebody like Tristan Harden that actually engineers our music. And every song has been getting better and better as he works with us. He knows more what the sound we're looking for. And the last song, Dogma, to me, was the best sound of all of them. And I think he just got it down. We got a good relationship going with him now to where he knows exactly what we want and what we want to sound like with our music. So I'm very proud of that.
He was jumping like a schoolgirl when he heard that he were going to have that guy as an engineer. So I can see why. Actually, he did jump ahead in the script right there, but we'll go back to that one in just a bit. So I can see why. But I guess, Tim, what sort of gear do you use?
I got a Boss VE 22 stomp box, and I have a Shure 87 Beta 87A microphone that I love, but this thing puts out feedback like you wouldn't fucking believe, so I can't actually use it live. It's just, as soon as you plug it in, it's just throughout the whole place. So I ended up getting, it's called an Audix microphone, which is like, it has like the design is feedback suppressive. It works really well. I like the Shure a lot better, but for the type of music that I sing, it gives me a pretty good sound.
Tell them about what you record with. I think that's pretty unique, and we've been getting something really good out of it.
You're talking about the
Stephen Slate?
Oh yeah, it's a Stephen Slate microphone. We went through a bunch of different microphones. That's another thing too, trying to find something, because you can sound however you sound, but ultimately it's getting translated digitally, electronically, whatever, into music. So whatever the middleman is, you're at the behest of the mercy of that microphone. And I think I went through like 4 or 5 different microphones, and I'm trying to look up what other people use in different recording sessions, and there's no one size fits all, and there's a lot of things that come into it. It's the room that you're in, how big is it, what are the materials in the room like, it's again, with mixing it, trying to find the right sound with vocals. That was a freaking nightmare. So Tristan definitely saved years of my time with what he's been able to do for my vocals. But the microphone that I have, you can actually now, instead of getting a $10,000 microphone or a bunch of them, it's I forget the terminology, but it's basically you sing into it, and there's a computer program where it can change the characteristics of that microphone to match other microphones that are really, really expensive. Not exactly, but really, really close. So you get a lot of different options as far as sound goes.
That's pretty cool. I guess, Milo?
So for this particular project I am using currently, I just bought a Dingwall D-Rock. Gotta love the Dingwall stuff. And I'm sitting here fiddling with it while we're talking. Apologies. I run through a Gallion-Krieger setup. Gallion-Krieger, I just downsized. I used to have one of the big monster backbreaker rigs that, each section of it was over 100 pounds, but I went to some of the smaller, lighter stuff. I run through a dark glass B7K Ultra, and then through a dark glass super symmetry compressor. Just to tighten up the sound, I'm trying to be very specific in what I do with these guys. I have a whole arsenal of basses, but my jazz or my funk basses probably weren't going to work for this. So we had to, like Niko said, I had to pick up a couple of new basses to make this work. So I went with Dingwall. I have an Ibanez BTB multi-scale, one of the 806s or 805, but it's fucking boat anchor, man. It's like 1,000 pounds. So I had to invest, and I went and got me a nice little Dingwall D-Rock, and that's what I've been playing with these guys so far. So.
And I guess, do you mainly play with your fingers, or you play with a pick whenever you're doing music in this band?
Fingers. I used to play with picks a long time ago, and I'm not one of those purists. Some of my favorite bass players are pick players. Justin Chancellor from Tool. Jason Newsted from Metallica was a pick monster. Carol Kay, the most famous bass player on the entire planet, always played with a pick. Everything she ever did, she played with a pick for the most part. So, but I play with fingers for something like this. Me personally, it's just more comfortable. I'm more accurate that way. I used to be a big speed metal guy, so if I had to get back into it, I would have to use a pick for that kind of thing. But that's not what we do. I like the tone that you get from the fingers versus for me personally anyway, the clunkiness that I get from a pick.
Yeah, I can see why. And actually, the only problem I had with Jason Newsted was like you never really heard his bass duo. It was always drowned out because of Lars is playing on like "And Justice for All," for instance.
We were just talking about that last night. So you got to go on YouTube. There's somebody has taken the original bass tracks and remixed it, and it's called "And Justice for Jason." And it puts the bass track back in, and it's actually Jason's bass. He did an incredible job on that album. Those guys really screwed him over for no good reason other than they were still upset that Cliff Burton had died, and they were hazing the poor guy, and they ruined the sound of that album. I mean, all the bass comes from the sub on the kick drum and the guitars. Jay, he really got screwed on that. I was 100% behind his decision a few years down the road to bail on those guys.
I'd say that explains a lot. Yeah, actually, no, I would say the bass drums on Lars's drum kit always drowned out the most, especially whenever you would use them too. So that's good to hear. And so Nick, I know you kind of jumped ahead with this question here. So I guess Milo and Tim, what sort of challenges do you face these days as musicians?
Well, I'll take that one. So finding people, right? So finding people to play with. The area that we live in isn't exactly populated with folks of exceptional musical talent. We're in a highly a dense retiree area. So there's a lot of folks, that came to Florida to spend their final years, and they end up in Spring Hill. So the music options, again, places to play, people to play with, so on and so forth. I mean, they said it took them 2 years to find a bass player. I don't know what the hell their problem is. I live like 5 minutes from them. I don't see what the big deal is. Honestly, it wasn't that hard. But I mean, again, places to play. We got no place to go. Like I said, there are 2 clubs in Tampa that host original music on a regular basis, and that's really it. And the scene here has just taken such a dramatic nosedive from what it was. Now I'm going to sound like a cranky old man, and that's fine, and it's because I am. But when I was a kid, the music scene here was amazing. There was 10 shows a night, any night of the week you could go pick from, and good shows, big names, and then opening, local bands opening those shows and stuff, and it's all gone.
So that's what we brought the satanic rituals to life in Tampa.
Exactly. Well, and to be honest with you, not to throw daggers, but death metal is actually what killed the music scene here, because what happened was when I was a kid, there were a bunch of really, really cool original bands doing really, really cool original things, all kinds of different styles of music. And you could go out any night of the week and see a really cool original local band that was doing something different and unique. And then 2 or 3 bands from Tampa get signed to, Roadrunner or whatever, and the next thing you know, everybody stops what they're doing, puts on all black, and they're all playing death metal. I can't tell you how many bands I watched immediately. We're not this anymore, now we're that, because that's what gets signed. And it killed the scene because it didn't last forever, right? So, I mean, how many nights a week can you go out and see death metal bands? I mean, not everybody's into that, you know what I mean? And it was a fad and a phase that swept Tampa Bay. And again, there were some really good. I have friends that were in some of those bands, not knocking their musicianship or anything like that, but in my personal opinion, having lived through it, I think that death metal killed a significant portion of the original music scene here.
Look at that way. But to be fair, I would say greed also had a hand in it too, when you think about it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, of course, Morbid Angel, they got signed. So we just have to do exactly what they're doing and we'll get signed. Well, that's not cool, man. That sucks. It's kind of, I to be honest with you, when all that happened, the band I was in fell apart. And my guitar player joined the death metal band and went on the road. And the drummer that I was playing with, who was amazing, went and did a death metal band. And I said, you know what, this kind of really sucks. And I just stopped playing for a few years. I just didn't do anything. I was pretty taken aback by that whole thing when all that exploded, because like I said, there was a couple of bands got signed, and the next thing you know, bam, every band in Tampa is a death metal band.
Yeah, I can see why. I guess, Tim, what sort of challenges do you face personally being a musician?
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, everyone around here, they want to do covers, they want to do Southern rock, or they want to do metalcore, and I'm not that music, but it's a neat, as far as I'm concerned. If you listen to the actual radio stations in the area, which nobody really listens to the radio anymore because they have streaming, but if you actually listen to them, they're all playing hard rock, heavy metal stuff, but it's all 10, 20, 30 years ago. There's nothing new on the radio from as far as new bands. It's bands that have been around for 30, 20, 30, 40 years putting out new songs. But I remember in the 90s when I was growing up, I mean, you'd hear new stuff every day on the radio or every week of bands that were just starting out, and it was great. They had huge concerts. One of them was called Livestock in the area. It was 3 days long, and they'd have every national, badass band come and just perform, and it was 3 days of just mayhem and stuff like that. It was all the time. Every couple of months they would have a huge thing like that, and they would have a local stage where people like us could go and showcase and get a chance to show our stuff off and build our fan base from where we're at. But they just don't even do that shit anymore. It's hard because there's so much content out there. There's so many people trying to make music. In order to get signed or get big, you got to spend that money first to get on somebody's tour or on somebody's label, and God forbid you don't get scammed in the process. So it's difficult as far as just trying to break out. I think back in the day it was a lot easier. I think MTV had a big part of that for a lot of bands when they started playing their music videos. But now it's almost near impossible. So, but we're gonna try anyway.
Yep, everything's worth trying. And I guess, Niko, did you want to add anything else to that?
I think they basically said it all. I mean, the challenges, and I think just to sum that up, it's because of the streaming, and that record companies can't make the money like they used to. So they're not signing bands like they used to. So you don't get the tour support and the financial backing and everything, the promotional support. So that's the problem. They're not signing bands today like they used to sign, and the ones they are signing, following what Milo said, is that you get a record deal, you go on tour, and now they're not only taking your music sales, but they're taking merch sales, part of your touring money that you're making. So it makes it very hard for bands to even make money if you do get signed and go on a major tour, because you're giving a bunch of it up to the record label if you get signed. So yeah, it's I don't know where music's going to go. It is concerning. But if you're doing original music and you write music and you're recording, you're doing it because you love to do it. That's the way I feel about it. I love to create and come up with new stuff, and that's why I do it. I would love to go on a major tour and make the money that comes with it. But if it doesn't happen, we leave a legacy. Of the beauty of it is we can still leave a legacy on social media to where our songs could be played, to be on there forever. And if that's all we get out of it, then I'll have to be happy with that. But again, like Tim said, we're going to try our best to break through and do something really good.
Yeah, at the very least, well, at least we'll have something to masturbate to. So there's that.
I don't know where you should have got that far, to be honest. I thought we were saving that for the Playboy magazines. I'm going to say that is now burnt into my brain now. It's going to be forever stuck in my memories now. So,
Sorry.
you're good. So I can see. But this is kind of like a part two to it because unfortunately Florida has always been plagued with hurricanes, for instance, which seem to have gone up in first, or I guess intensity, we should say the least. So I guess you guys recently were hit with one, Ian, right? Was that the one that kind of devastated Tampa?
Honestly, if you've lived here for a decade or more, hurricanes are like nothing. You know, it's just like it's another storm. Most of the time, they'll tell you it's going here this way, so you go that way, and then it changes course. It goes that way, and you get hit with it anyways. So, I mean, there's people that have definitely suffered and had their houses and property devastated, and I feel for those people. But um, I'd say half the population here goes nuts and empties the shelf for hurricane um, preparedness items. The other half, we just party, and we don't really give.
Hurricane party.
Yeah.
Here I am, rock you like a hurricane. There we go.
There you go.
The big problem with hurricanes in Florida that it's caused us Floridians as homeowners is insurance, right? So, you know, you can't get homeowners insurance if your house is older than a certain year, and a lot of the bigger private companies have pulled out of Florida altogether just because of fear. Because, I mean, listen, every year we get 7 or 8 that are coming right for us. So that's a challenge. Don't live close to the water, boys and girls. You can't afford it.
Yeah, I can see why. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why I said that's the reason I don't live in Florida, and the reason I don't understand living in Florida too. So that's just me. Sorry. I still love the state. I love going there during the winter time, especially when it's like the perfect 78, 80 degree weather. Really no humidity or anything like that. So that's why. So I guess jumping into the next question right here. So I guess when you guys are creating a song, I guess how do you guys go about it first? Do you always put the music together and then lyrics last?
I'll just touch on it, and then I guess it depends. I mean, the first 4 songs, there's been times where me and the guitar player would actually put something together, and Tim would come in and put his lyrics to it. And then this last one where Milo came in, Milo came up with the bass riff and rewrote the whole song around that. So it's going to be different. I think whoever, comes up, the Devil You Know is one of the songs that we're going to be releasing song. I came up with the drum parts of it, and then guitar came in, and then he put the lyrics to it. So it's going to always be different for us. I don't think we have one way of writing. I think whatever inspires us at the time is how we're going to write. Whether the bass player comes up with a great bass riff, he comes with a great melody and lyrics, I come with a drum beat or something, it's going to always be different. And I welcome that. It's just not one type of
Formula.
Formula to write, right? We can do it in many ways, and it keeps everybody engaged, right? Everybody has an opportunity to come in with something new, and we write right around it. Not that one person's doing everything. Some bands, there's a 1 or 2 writers in the band, and nobody else really has much of a say so. But in our band, we welcome everybody to come in and input any way they can.
Does that also apply to lyrics? Does everybody have a fair share in like whenever you're trying to put lyrics, or is it mostly Tim who's putting it together?
Tim's the guy. Tim has got some deep lyrics. We have 2 lyrics videos out there. So he mentioned the videos before. So make sure you get on there and watch a couple of the videos, and then look at some of his lyrics from the lyrics videos. I think you'll see he writes some pretty deep lyrics. A lot of good background behind those lyrics. The heartfelt. Tim, you want to say anything about your lyrics?
I was gonna say, yeah. Where's your inspiration for your lyrics come from?
I like to go deep, as Niko said.
That's what she said.
Hold on a second. Yeah, I mean, it depends. I try to pull inspiration from everywhere. As a writer, I listened to a lot. I read a lot. I think a lot. So there's a lot of the stuff that I write. It has more than one meaning. on purpose. Sometimes when I listen to a song that I write, it depends on what kind of mood I'm in. It will determine what comes to me. And I think, a lot of it's perspective. But I write it in a way to where it can be interpreted a lot of different ways depending on who you are. I do that on purpose because that's the type of stuff that I like to listen to and that I like to read. So it just comes naturally.
I did say you do some writing and I guess also some screenplays too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm in the process of trying to get my first novel published at the moment. So have two screenplays out there. Haven't really got much traction. One of them won quarterfinalist in a national contest, and I haven't done anything with it since because my life is just crazy right now. But yeah, I'm just always trying to stay busy and put content out there. So.
All right. Wish you all best luck on your writing journey there, man, because I know how tough it is. So I can see why. And I guess I should do this instead. I guess what's Man in the Moon mainly about?
So again, it has a bunch of different meanings. Originally, when I wrote it, a lot of things that I write, I use symbolism. So the book that I was writing at the time, the name of it is Man in the Moon, and it's about a guy who kind of like a Fight Club scenario where his alter ego, he doesn't realize it's his alter ego and he's talking to him. So the moon is symbolic for his subconscious, and it was the man in his subconscious pretty much that he was dealing with in the story, and that's kind of where I started from with that song. And if you take it a different way, it can mean, as far as surveillance, Big Brother. That's another angle that I try to weave into there. So for me personally, those are the two angles that I had in mind when I was writing it.
Always wants to keep his readers thinking in depth whenever they look at the lyrics. So I can see why. So that's pretty cool. And Niko, I forgot to ask this too. For your drum sets, what brand are your drumsticks?
Vic Firth.
You a Vic Firth guy?
Yep.
Is it a 2B or 2A?
Actually, I'm using 5As.
Oh, looks like Milo's showing off his own drum set. Is that one of the ones?
That's my Gretsch set right there at the rehearsal room, and then this is my Elise set that I record with right here. So.
Oh, for looking good.
Yeah. So that's the Vic Firth. I don't know. I started out and I tried a couple of different things, and I liked the way that felt, and I used to play with 2Bs, and I was a heavy hitter. I went to a lighter stick, and I just feel more comfortable doing it that way. And I break less cymbals that way.
Break things a lot less than that way. So I could say
cymbals are very expensive, and when you start cracking them, they're not cheap to replace. So I'd rather hit a little lighter with the stick and still get the same out of it.
Because there's also additional gray hairs come out of it too when you start cracking cymbals. So I can imagine. So I can see why. So. But do you mainly use the Elises just strictly for recording? I guess when do you use the Gretsch set at Milo's place here?
The Elise, yeah, I mainly use it for recording, because it's all digital and I can get any sound I want. So if I need a certain snare sound or I need a certain bass drum sound, it's just a matter of me, picking what I want. To where, when you go into a very expensive studio, sometimes they throw in this snare for this and this snare for that. And just like with Tim with his microphones, I mean, you go into a studio, they're using, $10,000 microphones and things like that. So that's why we're doing some of the things we're doing. It's a cheaper way for us to record our songs and get really good quality out of it. Because if we were going to record at home and I was going to use acoustic drums, of course, I'd have to have very expensive mics, right? And we have to have, better equipment than just digitally. So when we send a digital signals with guitars, flat, just clean guitars and everything, and they put their touches in it in the studio, he gives us a really good professional sound, and we're doing it a lot cheaper. When I was in Art Studios, it was $250 an hour back then. I can't even imagine what a studio like the Hideaway costs today. It's probably, $400 an hour or something like that to be in there. And when you go in there and you spend hours just on one song, I mean, we just don't have that kind of money, that budget to do that.
Yeah, I can imagine it's up like that, and to say the least. Like I was saying earlier, greed is what killed the music scene when you think about it. So, see why. So, I guess moving on to the next one here. I guess first of all, what social media are you guys on, and who handles the social media aspect?
Anybody but me.
Yeah, who's going to take that?
We're on
Yes.
Facebook,
You and Tim.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tinder. What else are we on? It's Niko does most of it, honestly.
Yeah, I think you named them all. And then of course we distribute to DistroKid right now, and so we're on Spotify, Amazon Music. I mean, you name it, we're on all the distribution channels out there. So basically anything you could be on today. But again, there's a huge challenge. He's talking about challenges today. Just to keep up with the social media is a full-time job. I mean, they're telling you you're supposed to release, so many videos a day, and or at least one a day, and you got to create these videos, and there's just no way. And we're working full-time jobs, and then doing our music it's a full-time job, and we just can't keep up with it. Let's put it that way. It's tough.
We better drink some coffees and try again. So, I can do it. But I guess, are you guys part of the Facebook group Band Together?
Yes, I believe so.
This whole thing with Christina and from Fox and Sticks. That's what they put together there. And it's kind of leading to this question here. So I guess, what advice would you give to musicians, whether on social media or in your neck of the woods? So Niko, you can go first.
Yeah, I'm experienced. It's not like I have huge success in it right now. So I just say you just got to keep pushing through it, and you're going to hit obstacles, and you just keep going. You keep going, and that's all we can do right now. Like Tim said, we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep pushing as many obstacles come our way, from places to play to social media, trying to get a record deal, trying to do tour, whatever it may be. You just got to keep pushing. And, sometimes it takes years. I mean, a lot of people think a lot of these bands are making it overnight. And when you start looking at the background, sometimes these guys have been around 10 years, playing small clubs before they actually got noticed and made it big. So you just got to keep doing it, and get better at everything you do. Better writing music. That, to me, the most important thing I think that you can do is write great songs. And the only way you're going to write great songs is you got to keep writing music and putting it out. And every time you do that, it's going to get better and better and better.
All right. And that's him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still trying to get our footing in the social media area of the music. I absolutely hate being on my phone. If I lost it, I would probably be happier because I like being on my phone at all. I know it's necessary, but there's just so much to keep up with, and there's so many people out there trying to scam you nowadays. We get posts from people that are pretending to be Facebook copyright department. They're sending you emails, hey, your content violates copyright, contact this number. We didn't do it, but people are contacting them, and they're spending like $100 or $200 or whatever it is, and it's just someone in frickin' the Czech Republic scamming their ass, or maybe down the street, you never know. But that's part of it, and like Niko said, keeping up with it. I mean, I kind of almost want to just put a teenager in the band just so they can have them hit a cowbell or something, and then have them take the whole freaking social media aspect of it, because it's so much to do. It's absolutely insane. And people actually have full-time jobs, so that's what they do. You pay them and they tell you, okay, I need X amount of videos on this date, this date, this date. I need you to do this and you do that, because we're sitting here trying to make music, and then when you get caught up in that aspect of it, it just takes away from the time you could spend writing great music or doing your best to write music in the first place. So, and with us, I mean, like you said, we all have full-time jobs. Some of us have kids, and it's very time consuming. So my advice would be get a teenager in your band or hire someone to do your social media for you if you don't want to fuck with it.
All right. And Milo?
I mean, social media is king right now. I mean, like you said, you got to hire somebody, hire some kid that's got nothing better to do than, just be on Instagram and constantly creating content. I mean, my girlfriend is a singer-songwriter, and I've gone to some of the things with her and met with other artists, there, and there are folks that say that's they have to put out 2 or 3 videos a day just to stay, in relevance to some, you know what I mean? Like, they have to be constantly posting if they want their numbers to stay up, and if they're even trying to even remotely think about monetize off of YouTube and things like that. Like, it is, again, it's almost impossible until you get into the, full-time touring. It's almost impossible to have this be anything other than a hobby that you put money into. That's just the reality until you get to that level where you've got people that you can afford to pay to do your social media and all that stuff for you. That in itself can be a full-time job. So if you've got people that can help you, let them help. If you got kids, I'm old enough to have grown kids. So, they're far more adept to putting together social media type stuff than I ever would be. So I would probably lean on them. Get your kids to do it.
There you go.
Even if
Let Tommy do it for you, yeah.
they probably know more than I do. So,
I mean, yeah, they were pretty much born with like a cell phone in hands coming out of the womb, so I can see why.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I really, I guess you could obviously say outside of the scamming too, you obviously see how toxic it can be at times. Probably more so on X, aka Twitter. So maybe more so like when you start getting political too. So that's kind of the downside of it. Or you can even just start talking about the whole thing like Star Wars Acolyte, for instance, too. And then it'll probably get someone who comes in like throws in a political reference or something. So you always need somebody to be a downer. That's the thing. So
Yeah.
tragic to say the least. So I can see why. So, but it's good to have you guys around in the band together group. So good to have you around. So, and we reached for questions here pretty good. So here, let's jump to the fun ones. So Niko, here, you can go first. What would you say is your favorite food?
Favorite food? I would say would be Italian food, chicken cutlet parmesan and linguine. I'm Italian, so I love my Italian food.
Nobody could tell.
Can you tell that I'm Italian?
Hey, get your fucking China.
Forget about it. So yeah, we need more of this. No, we need more of this. Hey,
I talk with my hands all the time. I got to keep them locked down here, so I'm not on the video like that.
Yeah, I can see why. Unfortunately, that's more of the dead giveaway when people are Italian. They play with their hands a whole lot.
Right.
So, and Tim?
I like anything grilled. I don't really care what it is. Any kind of meat, grilled, steak, chicken.
Alligator.
Yeah.
I do have alligator bites, so I have tried that before.
Yeah, those are good. I used to live in Jamaica, and I ate some really weird shit that was grilled. That wasn't good, but most of everything else that's grilled, or like a stromboli, something like a stromboli,
Yeah,
Stromboli.
Stromboli. Stromboli.
You can tell he's not Italian though, so that's the other thing.
Yeah.
In terms of Jamaica too, I imagine they stuffed something with maybe a little Mary Jane in it, so maybe that's why it tasted weird.
No, it was actually a cow's vagina they put on a grill. And no bullshit. So they put a dry rub on it and they put it on the grill. And it gets 3 times its normal size, and they cut it up and they serve it. And supposedly it's like a delicacy, but no, it wasn't good.
Next thing I was going to say, a tired penis on a hot dog bun. I mean, I wasn't sure if you were being serious at first. I mean, there were some jokes like here or there. So I mean, like, is he being serious? With cow vagina?
It was serious. Yeah. Because they claim, it gives you the keep it cocky strong, man. So that's what they do. Yeah. Cow pussy.
Keep us so strong, man. Yeah. Actually, next I was going to think a beaver's asshole would be the next thing he tries out. So.
No, I haven't done that one. I don't plan on it, but
I'll say it's probably something West Virginia. I don't know. Anywhere that's got a whole lot of hunting. So something like that. Actually, Louisiana hates the beavers, so maybe that's a good spot to try it. So
yeah, I'll have to check that out. I mean, I like beaver. Why not eat the beaver's asshole?
God.
Yeah. Make sure you kiss it first, all right?
Yeah.
So a fun story why they call the woman's vagina a beaver. Actually, I like to look up weird shit. I don't know, this is completely irrelevant. But back in the day when there was like really bad lice problem and women would shave their privates, they didn't want to seem like they were very young women, so they would actually get beaver pelts and use them as toupees on their vagina. That's why it's called a beaver.
Like, my eyes.
It's like hair club for men, but beaver pelts on vaginas. Kind of the same thing.
Oh my god. Humanity's weird. That's the thing. I accept humanity's just weird. So
yeah, totally.
Okay. I guess me okay try to top anything that we've just been talking about in the last couple minutes.
This is what our practices are like too, by the way. This is how and this is how I roll on stage. I talk a lot of shit. That's just what I do.
Yeah, keep the crowd pumped though, but you gotta make sure you're not talking about some weird stuff. That's the thing.
Yeah, you like it, you don't. It's coming out either way at this point. So
make sure you kiss it first, all right?
I got you. Make sure I do.
You're gonna edit this. You're gonna edit this podcast, right?
I'm gonna edit it, but we're leaving this in. This is some funny shit right here. So
I mean,
this is why we do it. This is why we do it. This is why we do this. So. I guess Milo, what's your favorite food?
I was raised by old Southern women, so breakfast, good old Southern greasy breakfast. Anything. I'll have breakfast for dinner any day. Some bacon and eggs, some country fried steak and eggs, all that good stuff.
Some biscuits and gravy.
Biscuits and gravy.
Good old Southern hospitality.
Old Southern woman, and there was no biscuits and gravy from the can. They made that shit, from scratch, and it was most excellent. Probably took 10 years off of my life when I was like 8 years old, but fine. It's fine.
Hey, if it tastes good, it's obviously going to shave a couple of years off your life there too. So, I mean, we do it all for the taste buds.
For sure.
Okay. Niko, for the next one right here, I guess, what would you say is your favorite movie of all time?
Ooh.
Favorite movie? I'd say The Godfather.
Of course.
That's a typical. Jeez.
You like
well, then, I mean, you can't go wrong with Francis Coppola too. I mean,
I'll take it from the other thing. I like Scarface was one of my favorite too. Can you tell? I like violent movies.
I'm just picturing him holding a gun and be like, "Say hello to my little friend." So I'm just trying to picture it too. I don't know. He doesn't seem like that type of guy. So, okay. Yes, Tim, go ahead. Sorry.
Honestly, my favorite movie, you said Pulp Fiction earlier. That's one of my top 3. That's Pulp Fiction, Fight Club, just because of the cast and the guy that wrote the original book, Chuck Palahniuk. He's just a genius, I think. Those would have to be they're a tie. Sorry, I don't have one. I have 2.
Fair enough. So I did have to say, and going back to Francis Coppola, which you mentioned with The Godfather, Niko. I actually want to check out Apocalypse Now because I know my dad talked about that one. That was a good movie. So I guess Milo, if he's still able to connect, I hope we didn't lose him.
Milo.
Milo.
Milo, no, there's up close.
He's watching his favorite movie.
I guess so. Unfortunately, this part's going to have to get edited. We'll just wait for him to come back on, hopefully.
Yeah, so Niko, a lot of people compare him to Joe Pesci, from the movies, but I'm always like, dude, you remind me of Joe Pesci from like Home Alone,
The one that doesn't swear a whole lot.
Yeah, and he gets so freaking pissed at me. He's like, no, I'm not going to be pussy Joe Pesci. I'm going to be best.
If I'm going to be Joe Pesci, I'm going to be from Goodfellas. Goodfellas. Casino.
Be like, you motherfucker, you.
Joe Pesci I'm going to be if I'm going to be Joe Pesci.
Hold on, we got to hear the classic line too. We hear that, you motherfucker, you.
You laughing at me? You laughing with me? I mean, so many classic lines. I mean, he was just amazing in those new two movies, Goodfellas and Casino. He was just amazing.
Yeah. Actually, I remember in college, I actually was watching like little tad bits of Casino right there. Yeah, it showed the one where they put the guy's head in the vice, and he just because he's like explain the whole situation. All of a sudden, he goes like, personally, I don't really give a fuck.
Well, he brings this up because every interview we've been on, actually the first one, you say, you know what you sound like? I'm like, yeah, I know. I sound like Joe Pesci. Everybody thinks they sound like Joe Pesci, which to me, I don't think so. But again, people hear it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, I was going to say it because it wasn't until you just brought it up. You're like, oh, that's why he was thinking Joe Pesci. Yeah.
No.
Is anyone able to message Milo? I don't know if we lost him. I don't know if his phone died. Let's do it like this. All right, so everyone, we lost Milo. So unfortunately, we're going to have to carry on the questions without him. He didn't get a chance to answer his favorite movie. So might have to be a part 2 at some point. So I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the next question here. So Niko, I guess in terms of drinks, first off, do you drink any alcohol?
Sure I do. Yeah, I drink alcohol. And you're going to ask me what I drink or what?
Yeah, there's that. Like, what's your favorite alcoholic drink and non-alcoholic drink too?
Honestly, I'm kind of a beer and wine kind of guy. As far as what I do most is drink wine and then beer. But my favorite mixed drink would be definitely Jameson and Diet. As far as a heavy cocktail for me.
All right, and Tim.
I'm Irish, so I'll drink whatever.
Good answer.
It's better.
We don't discriminate. Us Irish, we don't discriminate against any drinks.
So, I mean, kids are coming out of mooms with phones these days. I came out with a freaking bottle of whiskey in my mouth, so it is what it is. Non-alcoholic. I just drink water, man. I go to the gym a lot, so I try to stay hydrated and just drink water.
Yeah, fair enough. And actually, real quick, let me see if I'm able to get Niko back on.
Yeah, Milo said that his phone died, so we're definitely not going to get him back on right now.
No.
So
we're showing green. I'm going to say it was showing green, so maybe I...
Is he coming on?
Let's see. Maybe we'll catch a break here.
I don't know if it'll last. I didn't even realize my phone was at 1%. That's why I jumped up and went and grabbed a charger. And sorry, I was at 50% when we got on. I don't know how I killed my phone that quickly, but it might happen again on
Milo. Just because of that, we have to start over from scratch.
Well, your mom has to start over from scratch. I'm going to bed.
Hey. So, unfortunately, we did jump ahead right there. So, Milo, while we're thinking about it, can you just tell us what your favorite movie is? And I guess what's your favorite alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink to at least catch you up to speed?
So, favorite movie of all time, The Blues Brothers. It's where I really fell in love music. I didn't even realize it at the time, but I absolutely loved that movie when I was a kid. I probably watched it 8 million times, and to this day, I probably watch it once at least every couple of months. I don't drink alcohol anymore, so I don't have a favorite alcoholic drink. When I did drink, it was beer. And other than that, I drink water all day, every day. I'm a pretty simple creature.
I'd say you and Tim, because both of you non-alcoholic drinks were both water, so I can see why. That's all fair.
Florida, man, it's hot.
Of course that's odd, but you got moisture in the air. You pretty much have to wait for a spontaneous rain just to come down and just go and bathe outside in a bird bath.
That's fair.
So that's the way. All right. So hopefully I don't lose Milo, but I guess here you can answer this one here, Milo. You can start, but I guess the last of fun questions. I guess what is currently your favorite song or a song you've been listening to a good bit recently?
There's an artist named Tyler Childers, and he's got a song called "Nose on the Grindstone," and it's really dark, acoustic, just him and his guitar, and but it's a really, really excellent, well-written song. I love the lyrics, very haunting melody. Love it. It's my current jam. It's been on repeat for a while now.
All right, and Tim.
I've been all over the place, but I've been listening to a lot of old school Offspring lately from their album Smash. Just had that on repeat in the gym. So that whole album, I remember when it first came out when I was in like 6th grade. I listened to it till my tape pretty much just disintegrated. But I've been rocking out to that lately the past couple months.
You practically worked it to death, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that the album that has Keep Them Separated?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that one I think was one of my favorites from The Offspring. So
yeah, that was a great song. Great song.
I guess Niko.
I don't have one song. I kind of listen to what's new from the bands I like. So I've been listening to Disturbed's new album, a lot, and I listened to the last Five Finger Death Punch album, and I just kind of take ideas from that, and I enjoy it a lot. So I listen to the albums entirely. I just go from Five Finger Death Punch to Disturbed, and then I do Shinedown. So that's basically what I listen to every day.
I would say my favorite was definitely Never Enough. That was actually from their first album, The Way of the Fist, for Five Finger Death Punch.
Right.
And actually, I did a jump cover on that too, so that was one of my more prouder moments. Let's just say in the top 10, I should say, because I think number 1 is probably still going to be The Ultra Violence from Death Angel, doing that as a drum cover.
I think Five Finger Death Punch has evolved a lot, though. I mean, they started out as a very, very heavy band, and I think they're getting more commercialized, but they're getting bigger than ever now. I mean, they just finished a tour with Metallica, and they're drawing big crowds, playing big stadiums. So, I give them kudos that they evolved like that. A lot of bands can't do that and transition into more of the mainstream that was heavy metal. So
I tend to hate the critics because unfortunately they always seem to rip on it because it seems like they went mainstream. I think that's what some people would say.
Yeah.
But I always felt like after American Capitalists, it was kind of a little bit of a different turn. But I thought that was their heaviest, probably the apex of their careers was American Capitalists. Sorry, I was going to say something. All right.
Do you mean Death Angel?
Yeah, it was the Ultra Violence.
The last show that I saw before COVID shut everything down was Death Angel at the Brass Plug in Tampa, and it was probably one of the best thrash metal shows I've ever seen. And those guys absolutely killed it. And the next day, they had to announce that they had to cancel their European tour because they all had the Rona. And it was like that next day, everything started shutting down. But that was one of the best thrash metal shows I've ever seen was Death Angel.
Nowadays, he's like, thank God I saw Death Angel before COVID hit. So
honestly, like it literally the day before, because like the next day they all had COVID and they had to cancel their European tour or whatever it was.
Oh God, that must have sucked. All right, that's pretty cool. Actually, did you take any videos or pictures? It'd be nice to actually kind of see that.
I'd have to look back. I probably did. I can't imagine that I didn't at least take 1 or 2, but I'd have to scroll back. I've never even thought about it since that. Like the next day, literally the world changed, and I never went back and even looked. I probably do.
All right, make sure you share it on the socials. It would be cool to actually see that. It'd be like, I want to say
Sure.
before and after, but unfortunately, I don't know when your first show or when you start going back to seeing concerts or anything like that too. So it'd be interesting.
First show I saw back, Primus, including that Rush album in its entirety. That was pretty cool.
Oh, Primus doing that. That's pretty cool. So, Milo, Tim, and Niko, we're down to one more question right here. I guess before we jump into it, did any of you guys have any questions for me? Or any final words you want to say before we jump into it?
I don't.
How did you get into doing podcasts?
So podcasting was something I've been meaning to do for a little bit of a while. And it was really COVID that kind of helped take it off. And really, it started off just interviewing drummers who were just mainly strictly on YouTube, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And I rolled with that for a good while. One of them actually was a good friend of mine I went to college with, and he's now a drummer in Nashville, playing with one of the, I forget which band it was actually, but he's playing in a big country music band right now. So he's living large. Afterwards, it was after I joined band together that I started expanding out to like various bands, like what we're doing right now, but also people who are doing the solo project too. I guess they're doing everything in their band, for instance. So like programming drums, guitars, and all that stuff. So after that, just expanded, and here we are.
Cool, man.
Wasn't sure if there's anything else. I guess Milo, wow, you still have some life left on the battery.
I don't know. Is he with us
3%.
anymore? There he is.
I was gonna say, are you all good? I wasn't sure if there was any questions you wanted to ask.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You know, I'm cool in the gang. I'm like little Fonzie. What was Fonzie like? Fonzie was cool.
Hey.
Hey-o.
So, all right. So, I guess if no one has any other questions here, we'll jump to the last one right here. So, given what COVID has done, obviously, seems you guys have been blessed in a way. And I know the music scene has kind of struggled where you guys are from there too. But given what COVID has done, and I guess considering musicians in around the world here too, and people who've been affected by COVID or anything else that kind of affected them in their lives, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to move forward in the post-COVID world? And so we don't lose Milo, so we can at least get his answer. I guess, Milo, can you go first?
That's a big one. You know, just I mean, it sounds kind of like a cliche, but be true to yourself. You know, write what you like. I've never been one to try to be formulaic in the creation of music. I like creating music with multiple other people. I like being in a band setting. And you know, I come up with this and I bounce it off of them, and they come up with that and they bounce it off of me, and then, you know, it evolves naturally. I've always tried to make music that I wanted to listen to. You know what I mean? And if other people dig it, then that's great. So just be true to yourselves. There's so much crap out there these days. You see this, you know, crazy tour with Taylor Swift and stuff like that, you know, and I feel like a lot of people kind of try to fall into a place where they're doing whatever is popular. Just be yourself, do your thing, and if people dig it, fan-fucking-tastic. And if they don't, that's fine too. Just be yourself.
Everybody's ripping on Taylor Swift these days. That girl can't catch a break, can't she?
I'm not ripping on her. I mean, to me, it's soulless music. It doesn't have any, you know, to me, I don't know. I mean, she's made a career out of breakup songs. Good for her, you know.
Hey, whatever floats your boat too. So I guess anyway. I guess Tim.
I think what he said was good advice. Be true to yourself. Another part of it is, I remember a conversation I had with Niko a while ago about trying to break out musically with original music. You know, it's daunting. There's just so many reasons why you shouldn't try to do it. But the only difference between people that don't make it and people that do make it, the only lowest common denominator is that they kept trying and the other people didn't. I mean, there's a lot of other factors that are going to have to fall into place for that to actually become a reality. But if you don't put yourself out there and you don't try, then you're not going to go anywhere. So you got to at least be passionate about it and throw yourself out there and see what happens and keep trying. Don't let it beat you down to the point where you just give up, especially if you love making music. So.
All right. And Niko, to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree basically what they're both saying. I kind of live by that. Be yourself. But again, to me, it's be yourself and just keep, like I said before, with the other thing you asked me, you just got to keep writing music. To me, it's all about the songs, because if you write great songs, something good's going to happen from it. You got to move people with your music, and that's something that I believe strongly. That's why I just think we need to just keep writing as a band. Our band, we just need to keep writing. If you listen to our first song, you listen to our last song, they seem to just keep getting better and better. And I just think everybody out there should keep striving to just do better and better in everything they do in music to be successful. That's really all I have to wrap it up.
To quote Pulp Fiction, spoken like a true prodigy. So, hey, thank you guys so much for sharing right there too, man. It really does mean a lot. So, okay. So Niko, Tim, and Milo, we've reached the end of my podcast right here. We talked for a good bit right now. So, I guess what's the plans this year? And I guess you guys got any final words and shout outs you all want to give? I guess Niko, if you want to go first.
Final words as far as what we want to do this year as a band, finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to finish the year up and actually have enough music out to complete an album by the end of the year. And I'm very hopeful that we're going to get to do some really good shows. My thoughts on the shows are, we just need to get with a couple of bands that are drawing big audiences, get a chance to open up for them and play in front of them, and win over their audience as well. So that's how I look at it as a business, and what I would enjoy seeing our band go through for the rest of the year. I just think that we need to go there to be where we need to be going into 2025.
All right. I guess, does anyone got any shout outs? Milo, Tim, you guys got anyone you want to shout out to?
No, I think what he said was pretty much hit it on the head. We just got to put out more music and play a lot more shows. And we do have quite a few loyal fans, so give them a shout out, especially our number one fan, Michelle. She's going to listen to this. And we just build our fan base, people that connect with music, and it means a lot to us, and it motivates us to keep putting out more music. So,
Shout out to our guitar player who couldn't come tonight. It's rude.
Rude.
So rude. Oh my gosh. That guy should be fired. So, okay. But I do wish you all the best of luck going forward right here, but we need to close out like this. So, everyone, my guests today were Niko, Tim, and Milo, hailing from Florida, close to Tampa Bay. They're part of the group Silver Bullet Smile. So, go check them out on the socials. Go check them out on all streaming platforms. Go support the music. Let's get these guys on the stage. We'll get them on the world tour here pretty soon, hopefully. So, we'll see what happens, but go support these guys. These guys are kicking some major ass out there. So, wish you all the best going forward there, mates. So, you all stay safe. Rock on.
Thank you for having us, Brian. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thanks,
everyone, pose. We need pose. You got the fireworks. All right, y'all take it.
May the force be with you.
All right.